My first guest is someone who was an IITian one time, then went and became a celebrated author. Chetan Bhagat joining me. Appreciate your joining us, Chetan. We've just heard of the 25th student suicide in 2023 alone in Kota. Tragic death again of a young medical student dying of suicide. A 16-year-old girl who was appearing for her NEET exams or preparing for it in Kota. 25 and counting in just 1 year. What, to your mind, explains the scale of this problem, as someone who himself prepared for IIT years ago, of these students committing suicide in Kota?
Yeah, thank you, Rajdeep, for having me. And it is indeed a very sad news for the 25th time this year. This is like a young child who I am 100% sure she had a lot of potential. I'm 100% sure if she had lived, she would have had happy days. She would have seen great moments, achievements, accomplishments, if only she didn't decide to take this step. And the entire family is devastated. Now, on your specific question on Kota, here's the thing. First, bitter truth we have to acknowledge before we get into Kota. There is some Kota specific stuff, that this is not just about Kota. A lot of students in India commit suicide. The rates of suicide in Kota will be higher because the concentration of students is higher, and the students are there for a very competitive exam, which exists all over the country. And there are suicides happening which should not happen. Now, if suicides in Kota are 30 per, rest of India is 10-12, yes, that's something. 12 per 1 lakh is also not a joke, because all are finding it too much. And when we come to Kota, Kota is like the of what an average Indian student is made to go through. From a middle class background, they are expected to exams which are designed to reject. They will only take 2% of people. They'll maximum take 3% of people. Things like that. Those are some of the selection NEET exams. So 96, 95 are going to be rejected. You know, it's just it's hard to imagine something as competitive. It's like one local train coming which can take 100 passengers on the platform, and there's 2,000 people or 10,000 people waiting, literally. It's like that. So you have a young child who's expected to perform in this. A lot of times parents send kids to Kota thinking this will give them an edge. It probably does. It makes your chances from 2% to 5%. But still there is a 95% selection rejection rate. And, parents often borrow money. Parents often, mortgage their house, jewelry, all kinds of things do happen in India. Farmers take loans to send their kids to Kota, and the child feels extra pressure because of that. And then they just can't take it. At some point, they feel like nobody's listening to them. All their parents want is, not just parents, the world around them wants is doctor ban jao, engineer ban jao, which, seems to be the only two professions in the mind of Indian parents.
No, but that's, Chetan, doctor ban jao, engineer ban jao, that mindset is not going to change in a hurry, unfortunately, in this country, it appears. What is the real solution then? What is the solution that you think can be there to, in a way, try and find ways to reduce the burden on these students?
Okay, so there is firstly all kinds of solutions being proposed. Believe it or not, there was news articles on your news channel only of like the spring-loaded fans. One of the solutions in Kota is that the fans should be made such that they have springs so that you can't hang on them. That's obviously not a solution. Maybe there is some well-intentioned thought behind it, but solution will come if from 5 different sources, really. One is, of course, the parents. I wouldn't just put all the blame on them, but they have a big part to blame, because a lot of Indian parents believe that if the child is not a doctor or engineer, their future is in jeopardy. And if you're a doctor or engineer, your future is set. And I think it's parents in India cannot take uncertainty. Tabhi sarkari naukri chahiye. The more stable you are, the more boring and predictable your career path can be, the better it is. And I think they feel if they are a doctor or an engineer, you will get some employment somewhere. I'll give you numerous examples of underpaid doctors and engineers, but that's a separate story. The point is, take sectors like real estate, take sectors like media, take sectors like social media influencers, take sectors like, I don't know, like accounting, finance, banking. These are places where people make lots of money and they're not doctors and engineers, right? Real estate, you don't need to be doctor engineer, but you can make a lot of money if you're a great at selling real estate, for example. I'm just giving one example, but that never comes into the consideration. And parents feel that every child must become a doctor or engineer. It's not possible. Please stop having this. Not every child is meant to be doctor or engineer. I clearly was not, even though I was made to go through the grind. But now, having gone through, I can say that it's not for everyone, you know. And why push everybody like that, right? Secondly, I think a certain amount of course, will go to the policymakers, because they have to open more colleges, which are quite good, you know, like which if you look at the US, there is of course the Ivy Leagues and the near Ivies like Stanford, MIT, all these colleges, and then you have other good colleges like, for example, UCLA or Tufts University. I mean, you have all these which are like A minus, B plus kind of colleges, which are also considered good, but they are not as hyper competitive. Their selection ratio will be like 10%. Then you have the 20%. In India, you don't have that. It's the same. I'm so, it's the same Stephens College, which you when you were growing up. It's the same physics honors, same economics honors, same number of seats, but the number of students applying has multiplied. You know, we don't have a night shift at St. Stephens. We don't have 10 St. Stephens in the country. Why? And so, you know, there has to be increase in supply of quality colleges, and that requires a certain set of people who are opening a college like an ISB. I'm not trying to promote any college, but for example, colleges like ISB, like Ashoka University, like Plaksha, there's a couple of people with very good people behind, and those colleges do manage to have a good brand name very fast. So some things we know the path, but we need to increase that supply of seats, right? And then third, the companies who go and hire, they only want to go and hire from IIT. You know, you're from Unilever, you want people to sell your toothpaste or whatever, great. Do you have to go to an IIT? Why can't you go to any other college and pick up good students there? Because these companies who give the jobs, they only go to those colleges. So every student says, if I don't get into this college, I don't get the job. Then, of course, it comes down to students also. You know, the students who are last thing, the students who decide to take this step. I want to say that, you know, life is difficult. Life is difficult, beta. Or whoever it is. I'll say this. I say this to my own kids. Life is hard. So it will be hard to study for an exam, and you will face rejection. You will face disappointment. You think like Rajdeep has got every interview he ever wanted from people. You think people have not slammed the phone on his face. You think I have had every, I don't know, book of mine made into a movie, and like people have not slammed the door on me. It has happened. My books didn't. So all kind of rejections will come. You got one rejection early in life, and now you may not become a doctor and an engineer. Now you become a symbol of that person that who didn't become a doctor engineer but still became successful. You can choose that choice rather than saying everything is over, I'm going to throw my life away. That is stupid. You're going to see love, you're going to see childbirth, you're going to see, you know, opportunities that you can't predict right now. I can't tell you what is going to come for you 5 years later, but something will happen. And if you say that I'm going to like just end everything and this is the last step, that's not good. So sorry, that's a very long answer, but it is a collective responsibility. It is a big problem. There is no easy fix. You can't just say shut off lights in Kota and everything will become okay. वो नहीं होने वाला है ना.
No, I allowed you that long answer because I think it is a complex issue. The truth of the matter is there are no easy fixes.